I'm your host, Riri. Welcome to Reimagining Life from Pain to Purpose, where you'll find a community focused on resilience and perseverance, sharing untold stories of hope and rebuilding while dealing with major life interruption. This podcast is made by and for people in the process of reimagining their lives. We're here to raise the voices of those who often suffer in silence, living with chronic pain and/or disability. This space is for you. We encourage you to get involved. So stick around and let's jump right into the next episode. Welcome to episode 22, where we'll learn about finding accessible employment for people with chronic illness and/or disability. Tiffany and her co-founder Katie both have chronic conditions that made it hard for them to hold down typical 9-to-5 jobs. They noted that had there been more flexibility, they may have been able to stay at their jobs for a very long time. The problem was never their ability to work, but rather the flexibility to work around health limitations. Together, they came up with the idea of forming Chronically Employed. Their organization has brought training and upskills, personal support, advocating with businesses, and advocacy in the policy realm together with job recruitment. They are determined that everyone who wants to work should have the opportunity to do so. Our guest, Tiffany Swift, is the CEO and co-founder of Chronically Employed, a UK-based organization dedicated to supporting people with chronic illnesses, including mental health conditions, into meaningful, fully remote work. With 3 decades of experience across a wide range of sectors, Tiffany brings both professional depth and lived expertise. After receiving an ME or chronic fatigue diagnosis 15 years ago, she and lifelong friend Katie Plumtree founded Chronically Employed to share what they had learned and to create a safer, more inclusive path to employment for others facing similar challenges. Chronically Employed helps individuals recognize their transferable skills, rebuild their confidence, and secure work that allows them to set a pace and structure that supports their health. Let's jump right into our conversation with Tiffany. Welcome, Tiffany. We are thrilled you're here with us today. I'd love for you to give our listeners a little bit of perspective. Could you share with us what makes you part of the reimagining community?
Yeah, it's great to be here as well. Thanks for having me on. Absolutely. So yeah, my journey with chronic illness is what led me to reimagine what work should look like for people like me. So I have ME, CFS, and my co-founder Katie, who I've known for over 30 years now. We've been friends for a long time. She has stage 4 endometriosis, which resulted in a full hysterectomy in her early 30s. And she's also now got fibromyalgia. So we both experienced firsthand the struggle of losing our jobs due to health conditions over the years, but not because we weren't capable or anything like that. It was more because of the traditional workplace and the way it's designed wasn't designed with us in mind or people like us in mind. As you know, living with a chronic illness means dealing with fluctuating symptoms. You've got unpredictable energy levels. There are systemic barriers in place to employment, especially here in the UK. But it also means developing incredible resilience, adaptability, and expertise. And those are the things that led us to think we are part of this community. We've got so much to share with everybody within this community and to let other people know that it is possible for those that are out there looking for work.
That's so awesome. I love hearing that. And especially that, you guys both had major challenges, and rather than sort of just digging in and dealing with your own stuff, you thought of a way to help other people also dealing with similar issues. So I love that. And kudos to you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Tell us, how did Chronically Employed come about? And what are some of the greatest struggles and what's most important to you about this organization?
Okay, so it came about out of necessity, really. And that's because after losing our jobs due to our chronic illnesses, we knew that there had to be a better way for disabled and chronically ill people to access work. we had this conversation ongoing for a couple of months, really, with each other, saying there's got to be more to work than this for people like us.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we looked at that, because of what we were doing at that time, was, flexibility, remote work, and sustainability. They're all something people can do from home. And yet it's not really being put out there as a mainstream option for people with chronic illness. So the problem wasn't with the lack of skills or experience in people. It was the lack of accessible job opportunities and employer awareness because of the things we'd been told in our jobs, or the way we had been treated within our jobs, and essentially losing our jobs at the end of that just because we were chronically ill, when all it would have taken were a few adjustments. That's how it came about. We just started having that conversation. So we just set up a Facebook group to start with, a private group, so people could come on and share their experiences of what they've been doing through work, how they were finding work, people that couldn't find work because of their chronic illness. And it spiraled from there. I mean, we've got over 1,300 members now. We're getting more every day. And people are loving that they've got a platform to come to vent about it as well. So everything that we do for everybody is free of charge to people that we do it for. We don't charge anybody money for this. One of the biggest struggles that we found was breaking through those deeply ingrained misconceptions that people with chronic illnesses were not reliable, that accommodations that might need to be made in the workplace are difficult. It's too difficult to implement, so it's easier to get rid of you than it is to keep you on board. But in reality, many of the candidates that we work with now, they're highly skilled professionals from all roles and levels within companies, from CEO down to your admin people, etc. And if they find the right job, they really thrive in that environment. It's just finding that employer and a workplace that understands that maybe 9 to 5 isn't for you, and you work better in the morning, or you're better off doing a few hours on a project rather than full days every day, etc. And from that, our top priority in creating the company was to build more than just a recruitment firm or team. We wanted to create a movement, really, because we're trying to advocate for everybody with a chronic illness, a community where people can find support, they can upskill themselves, they can regain that confidence and talk to other people that are in the same situation, so they don't feel so alone, whilst also helping businesses tap into that incredibly talented but overlooked workforce, because there are so many of us out there around the world. And people have all these skills. They might not have qualifications. Some do, some don't. That's life. But the skills that all these people carry and the things that they can do shouldn't be overlooked.
That's so important. I mean, and
yeah,
really one of the reasons why I started the podcast. So you've got me on board.
Oh, thanks.
So what kinds of services and support do you provide to job seekers? I know that you offer a lot more than just, linking someone to a job.
Yeah, so we'll what we tend to get is, because it's a private group on Facebook, that's our main focal point. We're across all social media platforms, but we ask people to join that group because it's a safe space, a private place for people to come in and discuss whatever they want to talk about, really. So the services that we offer will actually help people, because I don't know what it's like in the States, but in the UK, our benefit system can be almost like trying to run a triathlon. You're expected to have all these requirements to hit, and you've really got to prove that you're sick to be able to get any help. We help people with that. So we'll help people with their evidence support claims. So we'll write a letter to say that we've had conversations with these people. We've recommended they speak to their GP, and we're helping people in that way. So for those people that are on benefits, they can still get an amount of a certain benefit over here, but they can also work a few hours if they want to. It doesn't affect their benefit. So that's where we come in and help there. We help people with their CVs, their resumes. We help people with interview preparation, because for a lot of our members, they've had a chronic illness for such a long time, and they may have been out of work for a long time. And the employment landscape has changed massively now.
Yeah.
So anybody looking at interviews, it's daunting anyway, isn't it? It's quite a scary thing to do anyway. But when you've been out of work, it's petrifying. So we'll actually hold meetings, like Zoom meetings, team meetings, whatever's easiest for the person, and do practice interviews with them so they can get their heads straight and they can think about what they want to say. We'll go over job descriptions with them when they think they may have found a job that we haven't helped them into. Do they think they're going to be able to do this? We'll look at their transferable skills. We offer support calls, so they're free of charge. People can just book a Calendly link with us and just say, yeah, I will need to speak to you. And oftentimes the support we give on these support calls starts off being around employment, but actually it's becoming very apparent that there's a lot of people asking for advice. They're not sure how to, they may have been newly diagnosed with a chronic illness. They're not sure how to speak to their family about it because they're worried about their work situation and they don't want to stress anybody else out with the burden of that. So we're there to just lend an ear, offer the advice and tell them it's okay. It's all right to open up about it. It's okay to share that with family and friends. And we give them like the tools to do that so they feel a bit more confident going forwards. And then obviously going on to upskilling, Katie designed a course called Chronically Confident that we did with some of our private clients. And now we give it free of charge to the people in our group. And that's just a course that's giving people confidence. If they just work through it, it's not anything heavy. People can work at it at their own pace. It's just something they can work through to build the confidence in themselves. So with the end goal in mind of being, they feel that bit more supported, they feel that bit more confident to go into the workplace or start a new career or a new role. And then we've just done a 5-month stint of a VA, how to become a VA. We did a webinar series, again, free of charge. For those people that have office managerial skills, business skills, project management skills, all those kinds of things that they might have had when they worked in an office where they've commuted all the time, but now that they're chronically ill, leaving the house just isn't an option, and that shouldn't be a barrier. So we've set up these video courses that we send out to people interested just to show them how to set themselves up either freelance or if they're looking for jobs that are paid, how to get those. And then obviously onto the recruitment side, we're in talks with other businesses, companies, entrepreneurs that are looking for, somebody might want a VA, somebody might want an IT engineer that works remotely. And then we look at our members, look at the information they've given us, and we try and match the right candidates to the right roles. So there's quite a lot going on.
Yeah.
But we've got an arm of the company as well, where we've got a lady who's going to start working with us freelance, and she's going to be our advocacy consultant, where she's going to go out to businesses, because we want to educate businesses as well and employers and just people in general around the stigma of chronic illness and how it's not a detrimental thing to a business. It's actually a positive. So she's going to be coming on board with us this year so we can get more of that in, because we're getting asked that question a lot through the businesses we're talking to and working with.
Right.
And you come out and speak to my staff team. So what started out as just a Facebook page has snowballed into this massive, it's opening doors all the time of things we hadn't even thought of at that point. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Wow, that's exciting. And just to make sure that I understand correctly, when you say VA, do you mean virtual assistant?
Sorry, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
a virtual assistant, executive assistant, personal assistant. There's all the different phrases. Sorry, I should have said, yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. Wow. You guys offer a lot, and that's fantastic. So, and you mentioned that you're going to have someone coming on who's going to work on educating the business side of things.
Yeah.
How do businesses find you?
So how do they look for us? Where do they find us? Yeah. So we didn't advertise on Facebook primarily because we wanted to keep that more so for the candidates, for people coming forwards looking for work. It will be something we do eventually. We'll advertise on there. But LinkedIn has been a good one. So we've really nailed down and buckled down on LinkedIn to garner as many connections, to network really through that as well, and tell people about us, even if they're not interested in working with us or employing anybody through us. It's word of mouth, and sometimes that can be the best thing.
Sure.
Because you only need 4 or 5 people to go and tell another 4 or 5 people each about you, and then it's growing without you even doing anything. So it's raising that awareness. And like we said, having Charlotte coming on board with us at some point is going to be such a big help, because she's a HR qualified person as well. So she works with policies and things. Katie and I, we don't pretend to have that. We don't have that, but we're aware of it all, and we're very, we're clued up with it all. We're up to date with everything, but she's going to be a real big help in that aspect, because the people that we're talking to now, we'll be able to book those onto conversations with her, whether it's a video call. She's actually willing to go out to workplaces in person. to discuss it with them. So yeah, we find people really across LinkedIn. We haven't started an email campaign as yet, but we are asking people as we're moving through LinkedIn and having these conversations, would they mind being on our mailing list? So we're covering ourselves, for data protection and things. And we're getting lots of good feedback there. So at some point in the next month or two, we'll be doing that. We'll be actually appearing in people's inboxes, making sure that we send newsletters out once a month and that they're getting more up-to-date information about what we're doing, what we can do. Would they like a conversation? But LinkedIn seems to have been, for us, the biggest turnaround for getting people interested in what we're doing. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Wow. It's so much work that you're describing. Wow.
I know I can cry some days. People think, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this? But you just do. I think because we're so passionate about what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We believe in it so much that we're not willing to let it lie. So we just want to get it to where it needs to be and keep it going. Yeah.
That's great. So does the current political climate where you are impact your work and the people that you serve?
It does. I mean, it didn't when we first started talking about this. Was round about just after the COVID pandemic hit, really, and obviously around the world, most people, not everybody, Tiffany, most people started working remotely, and the world kind of carried on as it did. So to me and Katie, that was showing us that this works. Clearly, remote work can work. In the UK at the moment, we've got massive ongoing challenges with disability rights, employment laws and benefit systems. All those things intertwine, and it's not in a great space at the moment. I mean, the government, the new party in government at the moment are currently talking about making £6 billion cuts to the benefit system for people with disabilities. And I mean, that's scary. We're not a huge country. It's a massive cut. Like we said, we now liaise with the Better Hiring Institute as part of UK Parliament, and we go to some of their meetings in person. We attend their online meetings, and everybody's saying the same thing. Everybody knows this is good.
Yeah.
The current political climate is that it seems to be that most people are trying to rush people back into the office, whether that's an economic thing for them, because they're paying for that building, for instance, or whatever, for a long time over a lease or whatever it is by the by to us. We're trying to prove that, especially with gig economy work, so ad hoc work, most people with a chronic illness, actually, I would say from the people we've spoken to, 80% of those people don't want to work full time. Some of them don't even want part-time hours. They just want something. And it can be the gig economy, which is most employers now, and the political climate is showing this over here, most employers now, if you look at jobs that are advertised, they don't want people on a full-time contract. They just want projects that are dealt with in a timely manner with the deadlines hit, that can be done. It doesn't have to be done 9 to 5. It doesn't have to be done by a certain deadline. They just know that, for instance, if it was set now by August, we need this finishing.
Right.
These are great jobs. This is a great flexible way for a chronically ill person to work because they can work around their own illness. And we're talking to so many people about that. And when we bring this up in our parliamentary meetings, etc., it pricks ears up. People are listening because they're aware of it, but the political climate at the moment, everybody's focused so negatively on what they need to cut. Where can we do this? There's too much on benefits. Let's cut this. Let's cut that. They're not looking at actually the positives and what could possibly save money to the government. How do we keep people, even just those few hours a week, into work, and just not from the money side for them, for the mental health crisis here politically has been hit hard.
Yeah.
And people that are chronically ill, we suffer massively with our mental health because we have this added pressure with us constantly 24/7. The people that we've got into work at the moment have told us, this is everybody, we're seeing every time we ask for a testimonial, this is what they're saying, that their mental health has climbed massively because they feel like they matter. They feel like part of society, and that is a big thing for a lot of people. So, yeah, it is a worry. Political climate at the moment is a worry as to where it's going to go with new government legislation, etc. But again, with us speaking to the Better Hiring Institute, with us being aware and constantly abreast of what they're saying from a government side of things, we're hoping that we're making our voice loud enough, really, to advocate for everybody in the country that this
Yeah.
is, it's not going to go away. People are still going to need work. It will come full circle. So people need to now start looking at remote work as an option.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. It's so important what you're doing. And we certainly feel your pain over here on this side of the pond too. it's
Oh,
it's a scary time for people with disabilities
it
and
really is.
chronic illness. So what are your long-term goals for chronically employed?
It's going to be quite a difficult one to answer because Katie and I go over this all the time because we've hit so much so far in a short period of time that we're like, on earth could possibly, how can we expand this even more? But we want to expand the job opportunities so it can work within more industries, because at the moment there tends to be a trend. It tends to be mostly recruitment firms, which is funny, isn't it? Because we're a recruitment firm, but your recruitment firms that are coming to work with us, you people that need basic office staff, admin, and IT seems to be a big one. But we work with so many candidates that come from different sectors. So we want to branch out across all sectors, really, and make sure that, everybody that's got whatever their skill base, whatever their knowledge, whatever their expertise is, has an opportunity to look for remote work within that field, because remote work now can be done across most sectors. Well, not all, but most. We want to increase our upskilling programs and our trainings because obviously, again, Katie and I aren't teachers, but we've really developed these courses that we've made and we've really enjoyed doing that. So we'd like to make more of those. We've got our own resource packs as well that we give out to people that might not understand how to use certain platforms because they haven't done admin for a while, etc. So we're teaching people diary management, all these skills they might need going into a new role. So we need to work on that. The education side, the training side, and expanding into more industries is the long-term goals really for us. And that encompasses everything really, because what we're trying to do with all that is break down the stigma, as I said at the start, just showing employers that hiring disabled and chronically ill professionals, it isn't about charity. They're not doing it because they feel sorry for somebody. It's about hiring top talent, and actually you're not doing it because you feel sorry for somebody, but you're actually showing that your company and yourself are open to every walk of life, and every walk of life should have access to work if they want to. Not forced into it. This is the big thing. It's not about being forced into work. It's for anybody that wants to work should have the opportunity.
Yeah, that's so great. And there are many studies that have shown, when businesses hire people with different perspectives, and that includes people with chronic illness and disability, oftentimes their bottom line goes up. It's beneficial to everyone, not just the people you're hiring. So that's
we had a conversation actually with somebody and at a company, and his big question to us was, well, how do I know? What about sickness? What if they're off sick all the time? What if this? And we just said, I'll have to dig it out. I will send it over to you to show you. But there's research that proves that people with a chronic illness, because they're working around their needs, their health needs, they're already adept at managing and organizing a very chaotic life. So they're generally very good at handling chaotic work, even though it might not seem like that. It's true, they do.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that will stick around. You employ somebody that doesn't have a chronic illness or a disability on remote, and look at the research studies. Most people will work remote for a long time that can, and they do it. But if they get the choice, they would rather go out to work and commute because they can, as possibly most of us would if we didn't have a chronic illness.
Right.
Chronically ill people are proven to be more loyal to their employer because they love their job, they like what they do, they're comfortable doing it from home. And like you said, the bottom line it really does go high because, it's good.
Yeah. So here's sort of the other side of the coin. What are your greatest challenges and lessons learned? Have there been any surprises along the way? I know you're still in the process very much, but
lots. So the greatest challenge that we've had has been really, considering we've spoke to so many, it's convincing companies and employers that the flexibility aspect of it isn't a compromise on them, it's an advantage. And fighting that stigma that chronically ill people are unreliable, which is just not true, So that's been the greatest challenge. Lessons learned. So the biggest barrier isn't ability, it's opportunity. But we found that given the right conditions, our candidates so far are excelling, So it's finding, like, the lessons that we're finding within putting people into jobs it comes from the challenge, really. It comes from looking at, we think we know what's going to happen, and it's not. It's the opportunities. It's actually, we're learning from other people that there are so many barriers there, and people are just not willing to open that gate to people. So we're really having to knock it down. So that's one big lesson that we've learned, is it's a lot harder than we did predict it would be.
Yeah.
Because many, a lot of employers, they say they're inclusive. They might have the little badge on their website or their company documentation to say that they're inclusive for everybody, but they're not, and they don't know where to start. And the HR policies in our country, again, I'm not fully clued up on what it's like in the States, but in the UK, they're quite stringent with what they say you can do and how many trigger points you can have for time off, sickness, etc. Which is something we're trying to re-educate people in. Does it have to be that way? It doesn't have to be like that. So these are lessons that we're learning. It's the education side of it, really, is making sure that people fully understand it. Surprises along the way has been the incredible demand from businesses once they do realise the benefits. Obviously, they come on board with us, and of course they're dubious because they've never done anything like this before.
Right.
We take over their HR for them, so they don't have to do any of that. When they see the simplicity of how that works, they're not just outsourcing to us to bring candidates in. We're looking after that side of things for them. If somebody is off sick, because people do get sick, we provide cover. So they're getting a seamless workload being carried out behind the scenes. They don't need to worry about the stress of all that. So again, that's helping us. But yeah, the surprise has been the demand, because now we're getting asked by the people that are already on board with us, can you do this? Can you get somebody that can do this? This has been great. So yeah.
That's great. And that's what I would imagine, is that once they start, they're going to be your best customers, because they're just going to come back wanting more and more.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And so I guess you've maybe kind of answered this, but what does success look like for Chronically Employed?
Initially, we thought success for us would look like getting it off the ground, getting it going. There's a lot more to it than that now. We started unpacking everything, and what if the things I've just said to you? So success for us is when all chronically ill and disabled professionals will have equal access to fulfilling careers or roles, whether that's a few hours a week or full time. That is what success will look like when we're managing to get a lot of people into these kind of roles and really help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And on the back of that, the success for the business itself will look like, for us, employers actively seeking out and valuing remote, flexible talent, not just hiring from the normal pool of people that they would go to, actually looking at who else is out there, what can they bring to my company, what can they bring to my business, because they'll bring a lot. And looking to see that hopefully in time, we'll be running our own research through all this. So everything we're doing and the people we're talking to, we're compiling things. So the biggest success to us will be when government policies start reflecting the realities of all this.
Yeah.
So we keep pushing forward what we're finding and our findings and our research and any data that we've got going forwards, in the hopes that this will kind of produce a narrative and influence what government policies are saying. So rather than just being the whole negative, they've actually got something to look at and say, oh, look, it actually works. So that'll be the success things for us. Yeah.
That's so wonderful that you're tracking things from the beginning, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people try to show results and then they're kind of forgetting in the beginning to track what they're doing, and then they try to recreate it, and you really just can't. So it's so important.
No, you can't. You can't at all. You've really got to keep it's hard work, because there's a lot of data to deal with, but it's worth it. It'll be worth it in the long run. Yeah.
So that's great that you guys are doing that. I'm really happy to hear that. And is there a plan for expansion beyond the UK?
We'd like to say not really, because it's taken up enough of our time with the UK government policies and things here. But we do get asked a lot, because we're on LinkedIn. We do get asked from people all over Europe mostly. We have a few in the United States that have come forward asking us about ourselves, but we point them in the direction of another company called Chronically Capable in the States. Because we don't want to step on anybody's toes as such, but we wouldn't turn down work. So if we got a company that came forwards and said, how would this work legally? We're in the States, you're there, but we need, I don't know, 10 customer service agents to do our live chat on Twitter. Could you provide that? What would that look like? And we just have to work out the logistics of that. Then sure, we would look at that. I mean, we don't know, do we? But I'm trying to be a realist about it. It's growing at a rate of knots as the company at the moment. And I'm trying to think, not to think too far ahead.
Right.
If it got big and bigger and bigger and bigger and we had the capacity, then yes, we would definitely think about it. But then we know there are other global companies similar to us that we don't want to make enemies of people. So we'd rather people who contact us from other countries look at their own availability for their own kind of companies like us in their own countries first.
For sure.
Yeah.
And actually, I was going to ask you, how are you different from Chronically Capable, which is based in the US?
So we do share the same mission. They're a huge operation. They've got much more people to deal with as well. We're mainly based, like I said, at the moment, UK based, and we focus on the UK employment side of things. And we directly manage the HR side of things for employee relations that relate to UK legislation and policies. Chronically Capable, they're very similar when you look at what they do. They're fantastic. They're very similar in what they're offering, but on a much grander and a much larger scale. I mean, that's a dream, really, isn't it, to be a company like that? But again, it's amazing because we get people trying to join the Facebook group and they're from the US and they'll say, oh, I didn't realize I've been in a month. I didn't realize it was just UK based. And we always say, you're welcome to be here. We will always offer advice where we can, but just be aware we can't offer you never say the word legislative advice on what, if they've got a question about their work predicament, we may not be able to answer that because we don't know the US law around that. So we point them in the direction of Chronically Capable. But yeah, we share we share very much the same mission. But we're just, predominantly UK at the moment.
Okay, lovely. So what do you still need in order to reach your goals?
More business. I mean, it's coming in thick and fast, but you can never have enough business, can you? So we need more business partnerships so that we can create more and more job opportunities across the sectors, like we said, that we want to do. Increased funding so we can expand training and support. That's going to be a massive, vital pipeline of the business, really, is offering for those people that can't get right into work, but it's something they're toying with the idea of making sure that they've got resources and education facilities and people they can talk to. Eventually we've said we'd like to employ advisors so that people can always call on the telephone, they can always WhatsApp, they can email, they can live chat to somebody 24/7 if needed. So they can always get an answer if they're stressed about their work situation. But for that, we need, more money coming in. So increased funding. And more awareness. So we're trying from this year to go to more networking events across the country, just so we can meet other businesses, tell people about ourselves and just get our name out there. We need to get better at LinkedIn. I've got the company page apart from our personal pages, but we've got the company page. So we need to get better with the marketing side of that. But business partnerships, increased funding and the marketing side to raise awareness. So that we can, get companies to start recognizing the value of hiring chronically ill people.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Okay. Now we've come to our rapid fire 5 for 5 questions. Please answer honestly and quickly, whatever comes to mind. What's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound? That's a good one. I like bird song in the morning.
Yeah.
I love it, even though it wakes me up. And I don't want to be awake, maybe. I love the sound of it. You can't beat it. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite word?
It's a good question. Favorite word? It's one that I used to laugh at when I was a child, and I don't even fully understand what it means, but discombobulate.
Well, it sounds fun.
It's just a fun one to say.
Okay. What's your favorite guilty pleasure? Or it doesn't have to be guilty.
I will binge a Netflix series and I can literally do it in a day if I give myself the chance.
Yeah.
TV, yeah. I don't watch a lot of telly, but when I find something I like, that's my guilty pleasure. I will watch it relentlessly after I've finished work every evening until I've finished it.
You're dedicated.
So just finished Yellowstone. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, wow. Okay. What's something you've learned that you wish other people would understand?
But not everybody's nice. I think I was very naive growing up. I'm in my late 40s now, and I look back and I think I wish I can see other people doing it. I think, look after number one, really, is what that means. So always look after yourself. It's nice to look after other people, of course it is, but not everybody's as nice as you think, which is a sad truth, but that's what I tell people.
Okay. And the last one, what advice would you give to an 18-year-old you?
Well, there are no barriers. I didn't give myself enough credit when I was young. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome for about 20 years, I would say, into my late 30s. So I would tell myself to go for it. Yeah. Don't worry, just go for whatever it was I was thinking at that age, work-wise, life-wise, relationship-wise, education-wise. Put your all into it. Just go for it and don't doubt yourself.
That's such great advice, I think, for everyone still. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I've so enjoyed talking to you and this conversation and hearing all the exciting things that you guys are doing. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Just that if there's anybody out there that, they're feeling lost, that's got a chronic illness or a disability and they're feeling lost with employment, look us up. Look us up on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, we're everywhere. But also for those of your listeners that are predominantly in the States, go and look at Chronically Capable. If you've not heard of them, they're fantastic. They're very similar to what we do. And there are people out there that will listen, that will offer that support for you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for all you're doing for all the people out there that really need your assistance. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too. Through Tiffany's story, we learn how ableist the world of work truly is. It's very easy for people with excellent skills to lose their job due to employers' inflexible rules or requirements. In many instances, all a person might need is scheduling flexibility for someone with a chronic health condition or disability to work when they're feeling up to it. Chronically Employed has taken on an incredibly important role, aiming to help anyone in the UK who wants to work find their opportunity. Whether that means full-time, part-time, or gig work, Chronically Employed goes well beyond just matching people with jobs. They offer personal support, education and training, help with CVs and interview prep, in addition to self-paced courses to help them prepare for return to work. Tiffany explained the greatest challenge for her is initially convincing employers to give people with a disability or chronic illness a chance to prove their skills. However, once employers get it past this initial hurdle, they come back wanting to expand and add more staff. It's pretty great when your own work also serves as your proof of concept. Through Chronically Employed, Tiffany and Katie are working to design systems and tools to help arm future employees with the skills and confidence needed to thrive in any work environment. In a role that encompasses both advocacy and policy, Chronically Employed is helping make work more accessible to everyone. It's important to note that Chronically Employed is still young and the team is hard at work expanding their outreach and client list. For our listeners in the United States, Tiffany suggested exploring the company Chronically Capable, which has the same mission, but is based in the US. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Life from Pain to Purpose. We're always interested to hear your feedback and questions. So leave a review and drop us a note at reimagininglifepodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram. We hope you'll tune in for the next episode.